Interview with artist Warren Cullar. Questions you've always wanted to ask a street artist by Tanya Tyler. In 1976, after 8 years of teaching university art, Warren Cullar resigned his position to pursue a career as a full-time artist. Friends and family all told him, "You can't make a living as an artist," but Warren turned a deaf ear. For the next 40 years, Warren was a street artist traveling from art festivals to art shows. He moved his own artwork, displays, and tents a dozen times a year. Most of his shows were in Texas, Colorado, and a few were in California. Today, these types of art shows no longer fit his lifestyle, but he is still creating and selling his art worldwide. Warren and his wife, Kitty Beal, a CPA and travel agent, live in Wimberley, Texas, and travel the world, always looking for new adventures and inspiration. Warren, it's been nearly 5 decades since you embraced the title of artist. How does it feel looking back at this journey?
It feels like just yesterday that I walked into the dean's office and resigned after so many years of teaching. But I wanted to be an artist. I had such a need and a passion to be an artist full-time. I had been selling my artwork for about 2 years. In 1976, I resigned, and my last paycheck was 47 years ago. Time seems to have melted in this space of time, and it has been a lot of challenges, a lot of disappointments, but at the same time, a lot of wonderful things have happened to me. And I've been able to live my life as a full-time artist, charting my own career. I've never had to think about a pink slip in my box or worry about a peer review. I'm grateful for the lifetime of being a full-time artist.
Who has been the greatest impact on your journey?
My father was like an armchair philosopher. He was a good student. He read a lot, and he gave me a lot of good, simple, logical advice. There's 3 things that I remember. I can still hear his voice inside my head. Warren, get the facts before you act. And every time I have gotten the facts, I have succeeded. And every time I have not gotten the facts, I have failed miserably. And the next one is don't spend your money you don't have. I've always lived below my income, and I have worn 2 hats. The big hat is the art business. That is what most artists don't want to do, because it's the paperwork and the scheduling and the moving of equipment and artwork. The other part, the 15%, is the time I actually spend creating. Most people are appalled that I only spend 15%. They think I spend 85%. And my dad always said, plan your work and work your plan. And I am very disciplined. I make goals for the day, for the week, for the month, and for the year. And I think that's one thing that I can say about my dad. He was a good planner, and I am so glad I listened to him.
Your ability to thrive as an artist is remarkable. Do you have a blueprint for the success in the art world?
Again, my dad gave me a book when I was leaving home at 18. He told me if I studied the book, not just read it, but studied the book, found the secrets, and then applied them to my life, I would be successful. And he said, I think you're as smart as you seem to suggest. I know you will follow my advice. I read a few lines then, and then I finally read the book, and the book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It was published in 1937. Today, it is probably published around 90 million copies, and you can still buy it in the bookstore. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That one book helped create my future. The ideas worked when I was 18, and they are still working today. If you looked at my early artwork, you would say, I don't know if this student will make it as an artist, but I had an immense appetite to become an artist. My 8 years at the college and university gave me a great deal of teaching ability and learning of my craft. When I opened my studio in '76, I became an artist. It took a few years before I really became an artist. I found out that it's real easy. It's just selling, displaying, creating, and painting more and more. It's what I've done for all these years, and I love it.
How did you adventure into selling your artwork?
My friend Jerry Baird from the college asked me what I had painted that summer. We had that summer off, and I painted the ghost towns of Colorado. That was in 1973, so that was 51 years ago. So I invited Jerry and his wife and asked them to bring 2 other couples to our home. I had 9 watercolors framed. I had 1 flimsy easel and a clamp-on light. We served coffee and pie. I showed the paintings one at a time. I asked each one what they thought about each painting, and then I explained the story behind the painting. One painting was especially interesting because the title of it was Ants in My Pants. That's because I was sitting on an anthill when I was painting it. I'm sure the people that bought it, the couple that bought it that night, told their friends from then on of the title of the painting. I learned a great deal about selling art that night. I learned that people want to go to a party. They don't want to go to an art show, and they want to be entertained. They want to have a glass of wine. They got coffee that night. They want to be educated as to the story behind the artwork, and then they want to be sold. And all I have to do is say, will that be cash or charge?
Why do you prefer selling at festivals over traditional galleries?
Galleries charge 40 to 50%. I think that's the worst business model for any business, and it's really the worst for any artist. The better place to sell art is at juried art shows. Yes, they cost starting from about $400 up. I remember paying one time $1,200, but it's worth the money if the show has had a long history, it's developed a reputation, and draws both a crowd of affluent people, buyers, and more professional artists. After one is being accepted time and time again, one can pretty well plan the calendar for the year. I could also count on the selling $5,000 or more per weekend because that's what I needed to pay the bills. I prefer art festivals to art galleries because artists are a great income. Otherwise, they're called starving artists.
How do you approach trading artwork?
I often offer my artwork in trade for whatever service the other person specializes in. I learned to trade from my dad. He was a talker. He could sell snow to Eskimos. I've traded for artwork for everything in the world. I've traded 2 horses 2 different times, one for my daughter when she was 14, one to my picture framer for a horse. I gave it to her as a gift. I've traded haircuts when I had hair. I've traded for doctors, dentists, chiropractor. I even traded for a small sailboat, raw land, diamonds, landscaping, tailor-made suits, and most fun trade was a 3-bedroom home in Beulah, Colorado with a great view. I didn't say it was a great house. I said a great view. I traded the value to value. I traded 54 half-sheet watercolors framed over a 5-year period. The most high-value trade was $24,000 worth of cement for a circular driveway and the foundation of our remodeled home. I also learned what not to do. One night, I traded for a pickup in the dark. I was able to drive the truck home, and the next day, oh my goodness, it was a piece of junk. I traded it off to a sculptor the same day. He was happier than I was with that old truck.
Do you accept commissioned work?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Collaborating with collectors to bring what they see, their vision, to life is a great experience. We start with talk, a good conversation. They're excited about what they have in mind, and I draw, and the drawing and the communication until we reach a shared experience. And then that shared experience is when I take over, we reach an agreement about how much it's going to cost. I ask for a half down and then a half upon delivery, and I paint. And when I get through, it's very satisfying. Only a couple of times has it gone south, but not bad for the number of commissions I've taken. I enjoy it. I enjoy the people. I enjoy the experience. One couple even built a petition in their living room so they could hang the painting. I feel very honored when people ask me to. They're putting their ideas into it. I like it.
Please read the remainder by pushing the button below.